finally live again. I just couldn't make it last Friday. I tried. It's like 10 o'clock before I was done all my running around. So we get a midday again. I'm going to try next week to maybe do a live stream, but I'm going to be in North Carolina with my daughter for a diving competition, so it may or may not happen. I did want to start today by wishing Pam Conzelia from Boca Raton, Florida, a very happy birthday this Sunday. Her good friend Jen Ramos reached out to me, and I just wanted to wish Pam a very happy birthday. And I hope I didn't butcher your name too badly. So I'm going to pull up the chat here so that I can see you guys, assuming that YouTube is going to show it to me, because we all know that, there it is. We all know that there's been some issues with notifications as well as videos showing up. It's taking about the first 20 minutes or so before they even show up on the home page, which is kind of frustrating. So how are you guys all doing today? This weather this spring is still just, to say it's frustrating would be an epic understatement. We've been getting below freezing at night. I've had to cover my gardens. Hey, Justin. I've had to cover my gardens with winter cloth. I've got a heater running in the greenhouse. By now, it should have been plenty warm enough, but everything out there is doing just fine. I just threw my every night I throw my winter cloth over the bog garden. I mean, they can tolerate freezes anyway. I just don't want them to get like, I don't think they're going to get a hard freeze regardless, but I don't want them to get pushed out of the ground because of freezing. So by just adding my winter cloth, which is that white heavyweight fabric, that it just keeps it from freezing, and everything's been staying really nice. Well, the heater in the greenhouse, when it's below freezing at night, you know, it's only in like the 40s or 50s out there, and I put fish out, so I've been trying to keep it at least as warm as I can. So far it's gone fine. I went out there this morning and it looked like some of those little carnivorous plant seeds that I had planted are starting to sprout, so I'm excited about that. The greenhouse, you know, I'm turning the heater off in the morning because it's getting up to the 80s during the day, but unfortunately my infrared thermometer went for a swim, so I'm having to gauge temperature by touch, which is not the most reliable means of doing so until I replace that thermometer. I wanted to plant my mystery garden yesterday. Everything's all set up, but it rained. So I have, let's see, like 12 days left until surgery, and this weather is just making it hard. I had hoped to have most of these tanks broken down by now, but without being able to move fish out reliably that aren't super tolerant of temperature swings, I'm in a holding pattern. So I have a feeling next week's going to be absolutely freaking insane. Or maybe it just won't get done and we'll have to wait until after my surgery and whatever. We'll figure it out. It's not the end of the world regardless. I don't have any bed rest after surgery. For those of you that don't know, I'm having a total knee replacement done May 1st. I will have physical therapy the same day I have surgery, but I will be requiring a walker, most likely for at least 2 weeks. That's the best case scenario. 4 weeks is more likely scenario, and then a cane. So I'll have a home health care nurse for the first 2 weeks, and then just have to see what I can do. So I'm going to try and shoot some videos to have for you guys. I'm going to try and shoot some updates. I may get my husband to do a video of the fish room for you guys, or the kids, or something, who knows. A lot will depend on how I'm feeling. So I don't really know what to expect. I have had many knee surgeries, but never a joint replacement, so we will see. I'm sure. I appreciate all the well wishes that you guys have been sending. It's a bit intimidating, and my like neurotic controlling brain is not thrilled that I don't have everything done the way I want already, even though I still have, another week and a half. Yeah, the leg stretching machine. What do they call that? Passive something or another, where they hook you up to it and it flexes your joint. I'll be in the hospital for a minimum of 3 days, probably 4 days, and then home. So it's likely, I'm going to try and make sure you guys at least get one video a week, but I'm pretty positive I won't be able to keep up with 3. But we'll see what happens. Who knows? Maybe I'll be like some sort of super rock star and not have nearly as much pain as they're anticipating. That might be a pipe dream. The problem with Tom suggested doing a picture of the fish and put music over it. The problem with that is I'm not really sure if I'll be able to get down to the fish room, especially that first week and maybe even the second week. I'm hoping by the third week with supervision I'll be able to get down here. But I'll be able to update on the gardens. I'll be able to update on the greenhouse. I can have my minions, meaning my husband and children, move some stuff around for me for content out there. We'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to all of this being behind me and getting a lot of fry in the tubs and getting back to business. So, is what it is. Things down here are plugging along. I've been combining tanks and emptying tanks and working on just getting stuff done and prepped as much as I can. For some reason, everything is spawning. It's like when it rains, it pours. I mean, normally that would be a good problem to have, but with me getting ready to go out for surgery, that I don't think that my family is prepared to feed multiple times a day in the fish room. So we'll see. There really is like fry and spawning behavior everywhere, probably because I haven't been messing in the tanks to catch fish, so everybody's settled in. But we'll see. I did go around and feed a lot of the tanks. I saved the big boys to feed for you guys. And as you know, they're always desperately hungry. We'll take a look in some aquariums, and I'll tell you guys I'll show you some of the fish that I still plan to move outside, should the weather allow it. I still have 500 gallons of empty tubs in the yard and another 300 or 400 gallons of empty tubs, maybe even 500 gallons of empty tubs in the greenhouse. The cricket video I need to do. Captain's been being weird though, so I didn't really want to throw off his game. He's been attacking his decor again, so I may have to break his tank back down and just go back to the cave for whiskey. He's got another hole in one of his fins. I got the coconut choir online. If you look online, it says that they sell it at like Lowe's and Home Depot until you check your local store and it's not there, but you can order it for pickup at your local store. I know that you can also buy it on bulk through various websites. I don't have one that I recommend. I got mine on Amazon. It was really deceptive trying to figure out how much I would need. I got a 10-pound brick, which was enough to fill one of my little whiskey barrels when it was reconstituted. I really like that stuff though. It's very cool. But I don't know that there's a best place to get it. I mean, it's also the same stuff that a lot of the reptile substrates are, so you can usually get it at PetSmart or Petco or whatever, though I don't know if you pay more for it being labeled as a reptile substrate. I don't know. It was the first time I used it, and really I just got it because I wanted something more sustainable than peat. And coconut choir is exactly that, and it does a great thing. I mean, it does great things for gardens. So I'm pretty, we'll see how it goes. I can't wait to get that garden planted. I have all these plants out there just waiting. I'm hoping maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow is my youngest daughter, Clelia's birthday. And what she wanted to do for her birthday was put in a new garden by our hiding tree. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen the hiding tree. It's one of the reasons we bought this house. It's this really magical weeping cherry, and she wants to put a new flower garden around the front there. So if we get that done and I have time, then I'll shoot planting the mystery garden for you guys for Sunday. As you can tell, my schedule's kind of wonky. I'm not really sticking to the species spotlights or Tuesday tips. I'm just making sure that I provide you guys with consistent content. Right now it's sunny with a little bit of chill as well, and I appreciate all you guys spelling my daughter's name correctly. Good job. You know, when I named her that, I had no idea what a challenge her entire life would be. It's a family name, and I didn't think it was that complicated, but no one can say it and no one can spell it. I have the coconut fiber mixed with equal parts chicken grit as well as another part of perlite, so I think it should be fine. When you squeeze it, it doesn't stay in shape, it falls back open, so I think it should be just fine. And I may end up capping it with a bit of pea gravel or something, I'm not sure. We'll see. Oh, thank you, JC. You have the I Got Crabs from Ms. Jinx shirt? That's amazing. Not that many people have that one. I should bring that one back, though. That's a fantastic shirt. I hope to do a Captain Cranky Pants shirt for you guys at some point. I have a whole bunch of ideas, but I'm not very technologically inclined, so I rely on some of my friends to help me with the digital drawings so that I can then create merch for you guys. So if you ever have any suggestions of things that you would like, let me know in the comments. Or via email what sort of merch you'd like to see. Let's see, what time is it? You guys want to take a look around the fish room? I'm in bad pain shape today, so we may have to do up and down rather than just looking at all the tanks all the time. We can start with me sitting down here and check out the 75. As I mentioned in yesterday's, or what, I don't even know what today, yeah, yesterday's video, this has quickly become one of my favorite aquariums in the fish room, simply because it is absolutely peaceful and beautiful, and the fish are super active, and everybody's colored up the way they're supposed to be. You can see how vivid those green neons are. The SB pencils look incredible. That male Apisto, who's right there, generally doesn't look like a whole lot, but because of the tannins in this aquarium, he's really fired up. And you can see how yellow his fins are. He's got a bunch of bright blue spangling on his cheek. Really, yeah, his wife's in there. I saw her this morning. I was hoping, oh, she's right over in that little thicket there. I'm thinking they're going to be spawning soon because I have seen nothing but spawning behavior from them. I just don't think they've picked out the perfect spot yet. So we will be patient and see, but as you can tell, all the plants are doing really well. Now the crypts aren't doing a whole lot, but that's because I'm not fertilizing them. But the rest of the aquarium's looking amazing. And you can just see, I don't know if I can, oh, I can zoom. You can see how active and obese those Otocinclus are. I can't remember what species of Apistogramma that is. I have it in my notes somewhere. It's one of those ones that is not described, that was collected out of Peru, that a friend gave me. I always have like random fish like that, but you can see how attractive he's getting. I mean, he really looked like nothing when he was in a 20-gallon. How many pencils? You know, I didn't write down how many of these guys I threw in here. So I really don't remember. I'm guessing it's about 25 of each of the schoolers, maybe more. Thank you for the super chat, Lisa Hildebrandt. But yeah, these guys are looking really good. Yeah, Tefes can be a pain in the butt. Try adding some leaf litter if you haven't already, Todd. I find a lot of times that can really trigger them. Both because it's their natural spawning media, pardon me, and also because if they do get fry, it's a great first fry food. You can see the Otos just grazing on these leaves nonstop. It's pretty cool. Let's look at the other little, ouch, the other little, what is my brain not working? Aquascape that I did in that 20 long. That is the Poecilocharex weitzmanni and the Coreodoros whoa, that's a super zoom. Now these weitzmanni have all of a sudden gotten really gorgeous. You guys see how red they are with that blue spangling? I knew it was going to take a bit for them to settle in and really become visible, but they are absolutely fearless now and just really gorgeous. Now their common name is black darter tetra. And they're really looking good. They're a really fantastic fish. They never look like much in stores. If you see them in stores, they look like garbage. They're usually gray and really hollow bellied, and very, very shy. But if you have patience with them, give them a tank with some tannins and lots of dense planting, boy do they get gorgeous. And I just think they're really, really cool little tetras. And they're pairing beautifully with these little pygmaeus. There's pygmaeus dancing around everywhere. They love all the hotels in this aquarium. Hotels meaning flat surfaces of rock and plant. But yeah, so I'm really happy with this aquarium as well. Again, this is one that doesn't read as well on video, but in person it's really turned out to be very, very striking. No, Apistogramma aren't the only dwarf South Central American cichlid. There's quite a few. I took a whole ecology class about naming and we'll never be able to say them. You got to say it with conviction. Fake it till you make it. What I've noticed about a lot of the Latin names is there is an enormous amount of regional variability on how people pronounce them. So I just say it like I mean it. There are some basic rules that you can follow, as you're aware, I'm sure, to know how to pronounce things. Like if it's a name, say it as a name. But for the most part, I just say it with conviction. Hi, Life with Fish. Yeah, pygmaeus are amazing, amazing, amazing fish. Anyway, I'm really happy with this aquarium too. I just cleared that tank. I'm gonna talk to some friends about getting in here to do some guest aquascapes for me. Perhaps that's something we could do while I'm out, since I personally won't be able to climb on ladders and stuff. Yeah, Crebensis are West African, but there's things like Leiatocara, these guys. There's Dicrossus. There's so many types of cichlids. So these are one of my personal favorites, smiling acaras. Really, really underrated little fish. What substrate was up in that tank? I think it's old fluorite. I just left whatever was in there. These are some of the fish that are spawning. You can see that there are multiple spawns. There's these bigger babies and then teeny tiny babies. You know, and these spawns aren't even as huge because these are relatively young super red Ancestris. But the albino Ancestris are going to town, and I have so many fry, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. Now, I think that most of these will survive as long as my family feeds them for me at least every day. And here we have a whole bunch of random fish. You can see various Apistogrammas, some laser cories, some Habrosus cories, the black neons. Just all kinds of crap in this tank. I have no idea why that plastic piece is in there. It fell off the light up top. I suppose I should probably take that out. There's also apple snails in here, mystery snails, that are breeding like crazy. I'm hoping to catch out this group of Habrosus cories. They're about 3 years old at this point, and I'd like to try them outside, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. And we have the Shelleys, which is always kind of difficult for me to show you guys because it's a bottom tank. As always, there's Shelley spawns everywhere. Everywhere I look, there's fry. The whole way across the tank, you can see them set up shop. All the way over to there, there's pears. So they're really utilizing this 75-gallon. Plants are doing well. I need to get in here and algae scrape, but I haven't felt like it, honestly. And that's cosmetic. See how gorgeous these guys are. The hope is that these continue to breed and multiply all summer long, and then I can pool, you know, a group of like 20 or so to have to sell when I start my business back up after my surgery. In the meantime, I just have not felt like disrupting this tank because it's so successful. If you guys remember correctly, I only started with about 8 of these, and as you can tell, there's quite a lot more than that. I do encourage you, though, if you're interested in working with Shelleys, to keep them in a larger tank than you think that they need. Uh-oh, what typo did I miss? Look at those sardine cichlids. They really are pretty. I wish that I saw the Synodontis in this aquarium more. However, I do not. I avoid live bears because my water is pretty soft. And that's not ideal for live bears. They do better in water with more hardness. And really, they just don't tickle my interest that much. I do have wild endlers. If we can get it to focus. There's a bunch of endlers in here. I always work with some of the wild type endlers. And I have some wild guppies. But other than that, I'm just not real interested. Just not my thing, in all honesty. There's nothing wrong with them, and I certainly see their appeal to other people. Just not for me. I can show you the wild guppy too. I saw the male. He was looking pretty good this morning. Now watch, he'll be invisible. Oh no, there he is. More subtle. They stay way smaller. Of course, it's hard to see in this aquarium. He's up at the top. There's a ton of fry in that tank too. My friend Ricky did the training wire on this ficus bonsai for me. I think it's looking pretty cool. It's got a lot more dimension now. I have to keep an eye on this because as soon as this wire starts to cut into the branches, I have to remove it. But it's a pretty neat concept. This is a tank that Kevin Kelly and Christian G did for me for, gosh, I think it was way back at 10,000 subscribers. We're at almost 80,000 now, so it's been a while. But it's a nice tank. I just need to get in there and do some work on it. Hillstream tank. Doing well. Some white clouds. That's a Sicyopus zosterophorus. Sacobitis. That's a Rhinogobius jui. It's another Rhinogobius. It's a bunch of these Stiphodon atropurpureus. There's a giant turkey of an Amano shrimp. There's a silver coolie. There's Brachydaniocyathid. The yellowfin shiners up here. I don't see any of my gastromyzons or pseudogastromyzons or Soellias right now, but they're all in here. I saw them this morning. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Aaron. Oh, there's a Soellia. Those guys were showing spawning behavior yesterday. The males were chasing the males and the females were being elusive. Typical. But I don't see my little Gastromyzon viriosus right now. They're my favorites in here. But yep. Then the big boys, we can feed them. That's the little Cuban gar. This is the one that bites me with the attitude problem. Let's see if we can see his teeth. I say his, but I have no idea what gender. See if this one does his wiggle dance for you guys. Every time I get near the tank, this is what happens. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. So cute. I love this fish. This is my very first gar. Let me see. Let me see if I can hook you guys up on here and then I can feed them. Sorry about the bumpy ride. I'm trying to attach a little tripod to a stool. Oh, that's not going to work. There we go. I haven't remembered to bring a can opener down to the fish room to open the krill, so I'm just going to give them some of these Sarah Arowana pellets, which they like just fine. Now, they did eat yesterday, so they may not attack it as usual. We'll see. Oh, yep, the gar always goes for it. These would be comparable to the floating carnivore sticks. It wasn't a pleco. It's a Hillstream loach, and it's S-E-W-E-L-L-I-A. Sewellia, Warren. Alright, there you guys go. Pig out. Here comes the little Cuban. He's on a mission. They're such pigs. See the Polly's starting to get excited. They don't see very well. They mainly eat by smell, so you'll see them start to go all over the place before they figure out the food's up at the surface. I love those guys. These are my favorite fish, these guys. I just think there's something really magical about the way they move. Sort of the implied threat. These guys got about a 60% water change today by accident, so everybody's feeling really good. I only meant to do like a 30%, but I forgot what I was doing and kept on draining. You guys hear the gars snapping at the surface? There's the Cuban. Now, they have not messed with that plant at all, luckily. It's ended up working out pretty good. The Pollies like to lay in it like it's a bed almost. And the little gar likes to hide behind it. So it seems to have worked out better than I could have anticipated. It could have been a real disaster. Or a real expensive mistake, we should say. But I kind of have lucked out. But again, you can see how powerful these fish are. And look at that one coming through there. Isn't that cute? Bink-a-bink. But yeah, these guys are super cool. What else do you guys want to see? Look at his teeth. Yikes. Let's see, what else can I show you guys? Let's look at those Phoenix tetras. They're really pretty. And then I can show you the copious quantities of... I really like these guys. I can't imagine how beautiful they'd be if I put them in a tank that actually had some decor. Most of the shrimp tanks don't have lights right now. I'm tearing out all my lighting. You can see some of the blues. It's kind of hard to see. Can you guys see those all right? Yeah, I have N-class endlers. I already showed them. Those are the blue shrimp. Now, the cherry shrimp tank doesn't even have any light, and it's in a dark part of the fish room, so I don't even think we'll be able to see any of them. There's one on that rock. I doubt you can see it, so I won't continue to... Oh, there's my little gastromyzons I was looking for. See how yellow they are? So pretty. Sparkling gourami, I can show you those. They're in here, there's one. They're in here with the Laubuca Dottie Bergeri for now, the Indian hatchets. They pair really well together. There's the Indian hatchets. And they're also in here with the Barbuca Diabolica, whose common name I do no longer remember. And there's some shrimp. There's a green shrimp. There's another larger sparkler. I mean larger. Obviously still tiny. There's one by the sponge filter. Yep, and then there's like 800,000 albino ancestris babies in here. Also the barred pencilfish that I'm going to be moving outside, and the Oryzius wowerae, or the Java, or Daisy's rice fish rather, are in here. There were a bunch of females carrying eggs yesterday. I'm trying to look and see if there's any carrying eggs today to show you guys. They've been spawning since they were in quarantine, but with all the various other fish in here, the eggs or the babies aren't surviving, so I'm really excited to get them outside and see how they do. They're beautiful fish, extremely hardy. There's also some ember tetras in here, which I think may have been born in here because I don't remember ever adding them, but I did add plants to this aquarium. But again, there's fry everywhere, just everywhere. Yeah, but I'm gonna move this group of barred pencils probably outside. See how they do. It'd be really awesome if they bred for me outside because they're, you know, anywhere from $14 to $20 a piece. So it'd be a good one to make some money back after not having worked for 6 months. Ugh. Let's see if we can see these Pseudomugil rainbows. They're in the back there. This tank has a lot of tannins. These are the Aru 4s. Sid's doing great. There's the longfin ancestris male and a bumblebee shrimp. There's also Neocaridina culls in here, which are just all the mixed colors. See, they're everywhere, shrimp everywhere. I'm gonna move these rainbows outside too, I hope. They're really striking. We can look at some tangerine tigers. Yeah, my shrimp culls breed like crazy. Tangerine tigers. All sizes. Breeding like mad. These are a really beautiful wild type shrimp. I always get distracted by these darter tetras. So pretty. Thank you, Jonathan Mendoza. That's a very nice thing to say. Alright, and then, let's see. Geriatric tank, that's not very exciting to look at. This is all those little tiny white clouds. They've about doubled in size. There's also some Sparrow decinclus in here and a mono shrimp, assassin snails, kind of a mix of a whole bunch of crap. There are emperor tetras in here. There's all kinds of crap in this tank. Crap meaning random fish. Red ones are Odessa barbs. Whoa, easy guys. There's panda barbs. These are a Pyrrolina brevis type. Random tetras, Siamese algae eaters, obviously Ancestris, random Pyrrolina spilotus, some cories, some crebensis. This is really just a catch-all tank, but you can see one of the emperor tetras there in the back. I need to pull this poor dying sword out of this aquarium. It's not looking very good. Here's the actual tank of emperor tetras. As you can see, the other ones are over there. There's no way, I have no idea how those ones got over there, other than if they were breeding. So that's probably what happened. I'm glad you like your white clouds. They're one of my favorite fishes, Robin. This guy's kind of cool. It's LDA, gosh, is it 06? The red lizard. And then you can see my Hypancistris contradens are in here. There's a flowering Anubias, which is kind of neat. The plants flower, it makes you feel like you're doing something right. And then of course my Latacar in here. Say hi, Captain. Say hello. This color looks good today. Yesterday he was being weird. You don't want to say hello to the nice people? There you go. Ugly mug. That ugly mug. He already ate today. And of course you can see Whiskey as well. 4-line Kim. Yeah, you know, Captain's really old. Every time I come down here, I'm half afraid that he's going to be aged out. Oh, there's my L397. Little Pinoculus. Those guys are super cool. They've doubled in size. Captain is somewhere between 11 and 12 years old. There's an L236. Whoop, there was an L236. There's another one of the L397s under that rock. There's some spare green neons in this aquarium and a random guppy. There's the 397. I'm not sure if it's coming through on camera well for you guys, but these guys are bright orange and black. Absolutely stunning. And I've actually thought about dropping them into the 75-gallon nano. The only thing I'm worried about is that wild Apisto can be kind of a douche. I don't want to risk these guys. They're very uncommon, and I really want to breed them, so they may end up... but this tank is supposed to be broken down. This one I already emptied. This whole row on both sides needs to come down. That's my plan, but we'll have to see. But I really like those dudes. I think they're super sexy. Here's the baby Endleys. They're about twice the size they were when I got them. Doing really well. Making a mess. All they do is eat and poop. See if the 173Bs are out and about. You can sort of see the black and white plecos in the middle there. These are super, super rare. You don't see a whole lot of them, as typical of Hypancistris. In here, if they'll cooperate, are snowball shrimp and rosy loaches. I think I probably just scared everyone to the back of the tank. It's Malawa shrimp in here, which aren't going to focus. They're a brown Sulawesi shrimp. Can't really see them very well. I have wild bettas in here. Again, we probably won't see them. You'll just have to trust me that they're in there. You can see one up towards the back. But yeah, that's what's doing in the fish room right now. Now I'll pay attention to chat again. See if we can get you guys set up. think I showed you pretty much almost every tank that's running right now. So, what questions do you guys have for me? We have about 20 minutes left. Farluella's laying eggs. Congratulations. The males generally watch over the eggs, fanning them until they hatch. They don't predate on their babies. The thing with Farluellas is they are dumb as rocks. Like, dumb as rocks. To the point where, like, I'm sure you've seen this, where you lower the water line and the fish don't go below the water. They'll just stay there. So, for feeding them, you know, I would use Repashy poured onto a stick of wood vertically so that they're more likely to encounter it. But the babies would eat the same things as the adults, and as long as they're not in with any fish that are going to predate upon them, you know, and as long as your water stays nice and clean and they're eating, you should have no problems. But they're wonderful fish, but dumb as rocks. I use shop lights on most of my tanks, Driftin. I don't know what you want other than to say, yes, that can work, maybe. How am I going to cycle my tanks when I get the fish room up and running again? I have canisters on all the big tanks, and I just keep extra media in there. And really, I'll swap some sponges around. My fish room's been running for so long. By making these tanks go dry, I'll just take sponges from established tanks, since everything's fully quarantined for like 6 months at this point, and set them up in those tanks again. I've doubled those. I've dropped the sponges from those tanks into various aquariums around the fish room that are going to continue to run. I keep a betta now, and I work with wild betta. I have a betta upstairs named Sid Fishes that you guys name. At what point do CPDs show their sex? Usually by just under ½ an inch. You'll see the males get substantially more color in their fins and black lines in that tail fin, I believe it is. What should the ratio of male and female Apistogramma Aggies be? I like pairs. Sometimes trios can work out. Sometimes the females will turn on each other and kill each other. A lot of it's trial and error. There isn't one answer that works with Apistos. Sorry, I can't be more specific, but you know, there's not one way to do things. Unfortunately, the fish don't read the books. So even when we think we have it figured out, you know, you could have a pair that only wants to be in a pair. You could have one that would do better in a harem. You may have one that would do better in a trio or a reverse trio, but you won't know until you experiment. I don't like mixing gouramis and bettas. Hey, Joey. How you doing, buddy? You are late, but you didn't miss it, so I'm glad you're here. Bet you've been busy as all get out with that new fish room. I'm jealous. I want to come see it, too. But I guess gotta let you build it first. Someone was asking earlier about fish to mix with bettas. Anything that's not gonna nip. I prefer to keep fish grouped by at least loose geographic regions. So some of my favorites are things like Espy rasboras or any of the small little Danios or rasboras. I don't generally mix tetras, though some will work. You know, I just feel like you get a better behavior and have an easier time when you mix based by loose geographic region. What do I recommend feeding cichlids? That really depends on what kind of cichlid. I mean, there's a lot of types of cichlids. He's been playing with his lionfish. Can you blame him? That thing's cool. I remember when I was at University of Florida Aquaculture Lab, they had these huge vats of them because they were working on breeding them in order to understand the life cycle. And I think they were doing something with a sterilization program to see if they could control populations of invasive lionfish through a sterilization method. I don't remember, so don't quote me on that. But it's kind of neat. They're impressive fish in person. I mean, they're big and beautiful. The rack that I was given from the Zebra Danner, it's still in the closet over there. I don't have a practical use for it. I don't know what to do with it. Speaking of racks, I'm probably going to sell this one so that I can set up different ones. So local folks, keep that in the back of your mind. If I had hard water, what would you want to keep? Shell dwellers. Goodeids, which are Mexican live bears. Most of them are pretty critically threatened. There's a lot of really cool ones. Most African cichlids will do well in harder water, as well as live bears. Maybe half beaks would be cool. I don't know ADU aquascaping. Yeah, I've thought about putting a pond in my yard, but then I think about how much work it is, and I haven't done it. My husband really wants one though, so who knows, maybe some sort of collaboration in the future will make something like that possible so that I can have someone with some real experience help us put it in. Because I've never had a pond, so I don't want to place it poorly or dig it wrong, or like, I really don't want to deal with the learning curve of not knowing and making mistakes with something like that. I'd rather have someone with some experience come in and guide us at the very least. So we'll see, maybe next year. I mean, this whole knee thing has thrown a real monkey wrench in a lot of my plans. I do not have a spring on my property. I do live about a mile from the river though. Thank you, Joey. Come see Joey Fund. As soon as I'm recovered, man, I'd love to come out and see you. So much fun. I can't wait to see the Awaru and how big they've gotten. Maybe by the time I'm out there, they'll be at sexual maturity. That would be cool. Love to do a follow-up video of how all the fish have changed. Do like a side-by-side of when you first got everything and now currently. I think it'd be awesome. But I'm not playing that shocking game again, because that was not nice. We'll have to come up with something else silly to do. It really wasn't that bad, but it wasn't I don't even know what to say about it. What other pets do I have? I have 3 cats, I have turtles, I have chickens, rabbits, a snake. That might be it right now. Joey should visit me. I'd love to have Joey out sometime, but I'd rather it be when things are really in full steam down here, in order to make it more worth his while. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping to get to do some fun trips this year. I don't know what that comment means. All right, we got a few more minutes. I'm never going to do videos on my turtles, guys. It's just not worth it for me. It's not what my focus is. They're something we have because my family's into them. I'm not going to be one of those channels that just like jumps on this bandwagon of doing like tons of pets just to do it. A lot of the pets we have are extremely geriatric, meaning quite old. Our chickens are super old. Our rabbits have been aging out. They're almost 12 years old, and you know, we won't have them for much longer. Maybe I'd do a chicken video or two. We're planning on building a new coop, and I wanted to go over, I think it'd be interesting for those people who are into chickens to sort of hear some of the things we've learned and what we apply to building a new coop. That was supposed to happen this spring, but it doesn't look like it's going to now, mainly because of me, but we'll see. You know, but I feel like there's this huge trend to like dilute your interests in order to appeal to the masses, and I just don't really have an interest in doing that. The things that I'm interested in are teeny tiny fish, big monster primitive fish, carnivorous plants, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So, you know, and if there's really something that I think is super interesting that I could share about other pets, then maybe I will, but I have Taiwan bees here. I've been maintaining the colonies since 2006. Whether or not I'll sell them is an entirely different matter. I have them in 4 aquariums because I really, really want to make sure that that line keeps going. But I do recognize your name, so it's possible I would do that. Thank you, Ted, my welder pal. I'll make sure he gets that beverage. The reason I don't like to sell those Taiwan bees is because I don't want people to hybridize them. And that's really the trend right now, is to mix them with tigers or mix them with other bees and create these hybrids that are really flashy. But I feel like there needs to be a bigger focus on maintaining the original lines, and unless I have the assurance that that will be the case, then I'm not interested in parting with them. Like, they have a 75 gallon, a 30 gallon, and a 20 gallon, or 2 20 gallons, a 30 gallon, and a 75 gallon in the fish room right now. I'm perfectly content to continue to maintain them. Well, hit me up after I'm better, and we'll talk about it. I just am not a fan of the hybridized shrimp, so for me, it's made me take a big step back from working with a lot of shrimp. I feel like there's a big lack of ethics in the shrimp hobby right now, a lack of transparency, and a lot of poor quality, and none of those things are things that I support. So I did move a bunch of different Neocaridina varieties outside this year. I am going to continue to work with the wild varieties I have down here. And who knows, maybe I'll start working or selling more shrimp again in the future. But problem is the more I talk about it and the more I popularize this aspect of the hobby, I feel like the more money goes into the hands of the shysters. Thank you, Ken. And I'm very much a put your money where your mouth is person, so I'm trying to focus on things that I feel like I can do good for. So, can you order wild shrimp? I can. But the problem is a lot of the distributors that are selling the wild shrimp are also the ones that are hybridizing them, and also the ones that are selling the crap Neos, and the more money I give to them, the better they do. You know, it's do I have a video on building a carnivorous plant terrarium? No, because I keep mine outside. The vast majority of the carnivorous plants that I work with, well, actually all of the carnivorous plants that I work with are U.S. natives and are temperate species, so they don't need a terrarium. There really are wild black bees and red bees, and I have them here. And wild tigers. I mean, there's lots of cool varieties that are wild and not mixed. Getting them is hard, and all of them are pretty threatened. Unfortunately, a lot of them come from like mountain streams and things like that, and pollution, gold mining, deforestation. You know, all of that is really, palm oil production has really taken its toll on them. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. Gary's an OG, guys. He's been around since my business first started, way back on my Aquaria Central days. No hate to Solid Gold. I wasn't hating on Solid Gold. Did I miss something there? Hope people aren't being rude to other YouTubers. What I do on my channel has nothing to do with anybody else's. I do what I do. Anyway, any more questions? I keep getting distracted by all those otocinclus. The regular problems. Vorticella. Yeah, that one's luckily one of the easiest ones to treat. Though it's still a pain in the butt. I really recommend with that you make sure you're removing the molts so that if they're not reinfecting. Breeding peacock gudgeons. I haven't worked with peacock gudgeons in a while now. They're little cave spawners. With a lot of fish, it's waiting for maturity, conditioning them with good foods, and just having patience and providing ample spawning grounds. Usually when they're happy, healthy, mature, and well fed, they'll spawn for you. Yeah, I've bred panda cories. Amana shrimp generally don't have disease, so that's unusual. Do I call the wild shrimp as strictly as no, because unless I see like gross defect in conformation, there's no need to call them. They stay pretty darn true. Fish in the greenhouse are doing all right. I took the heater from the fish room here and took it out to the greenhouse because it's gotten below freezing the past 3 nights. I talked about this in the beginning of the video, but I'll recap real quick for you guys who came later. I've had to lay winter cloth over my gardens and run a heater in the greenhouse. When I moved fish out there, the forecast was to be 70s all the days in the foreseeable forecast and like 50s overnight, and instead it's gone to 40s or 50s during the day and 30s overnight. So roll with the punches. You know, everything's doing all right. And I think starting tomorrow it's supposed to be absolutely gorgeous from here on out. We just had another delay, and hopefully that's the case so that next week I can move a bunch more stuff out. But this year has just been kicking my butt. Tank mates for night goby, I like to keep them in a species tank, honestly. You might be able to get away with some fast-moving Danios or Brachydanios. They have pretty big mouths, though. But this weather, I mean, I'm sure you're all going through it. It seems like everybody's had a rough time. Sparkling or honey gourami, I love them both. If you can get true wild honey gouramis, they're gorgeous. The males get a thick black throat when they're in spawning dress. I'm not talking about the sunset ones. I'm talking about true honey gouramis. Absolutely phenomenal fish and very peaceful. Great for a little community. Sparkling are also fantastic. I always have one or the other in the fish room because I really do enjoy them both very, very much. Pros and cons of setting up an aquarium in a windowsill. The cons would be you are going to get algae from the sunlight. Indirect sunlight or even direct sunlight like that, you're really going to struggle probably with maybe green water. Definitely some of the green spot algae can be very difficult. Yeah, pros, natural sunlight. Cons, lots of algae. That's exactly right, Jonathan. It's exactly right. I try and avoid natural sun for my aquariums that are in the house. Now in the greenhouse, obviously I'm encouraging it, but those are black bins, so I still get green water and I still get algae. But pleco, keep the algae down, depends on species. Ancestris would eat algae, but you know, I often find that adding a critter to deal with a problem causes its own host of problems, so it's better to look at the source of the problem and combat that instead. They can certainly help, but you know, a pleco is also going to produce a ton of waste, which then will make your maintenance job more difficult. So it can go back and forth. Nearite snails are more my preference, or a mono shrimp, depending on the type of algae. But if you get green water from all that sun, none of those are going to help anyway. Yeah, I heard about that blizzard in South Dakota. That's miserable. My youngest daughter will be turning 14 tomorrow. The baby is 14. It's hard to believe. And again, next weekend I will be out of town. I'll be in North Carolina for a dive meet in Chapel Hill. So I'm not sure when we're leaving Friday. If I can, I might do an early morning live stream. If not, it probably won't happen. Not because I don't want to, but, you know, mom duty calls. It's not like I can really, I don't think it would be appropriate to do one from a hotel room or while driving. But at any rate, I appreciate all of you joining me today. I'm sorry I didn't make it last week, and I'm sorry I probably won't make it next week. Again, happy birthday to Pam from Florida, from her friend Jen. And, you know, maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll do a live stream next Thursday if it's looking like Friday won't work out. And that would then be at the time I normally put out my videos, which is 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. We'll see. Or maybe I'll do both. It might be Carla. I have to drive to, I just said it a moment ago, North Carolina next Friday. My daughter has regional dive meet. So I'm not sure if I'm pulling her from school. I think it's about a 7-hour drive from here. I'm not sure what the plan is yet. If I have time in the morning, I will do a live stream. If I don't, then I won't. But I do plan on doing at least a live stream while I'm out from surgery. Maybe I'll show you guys all my beautiful scars. We'll see how bad it looks. I don't want to get demonetized for the gross factor. But again, as always, thank you guys for your continued support. I really appreciate it, and I will keep you posted on either the community tab or by scheduling a live stream if I'm going to do one next week. But I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I hope the weather is as beautiful for you as it's supposed to be here.